studios of the MetroNews Radio Network in Morgantown, this is West Virginia's premier sports talk show.
From Weirton to Welch, Martinsburg to Matewan, and all points in between, this is the Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Northside Automotive, Route 19 in Summersville. We'll beat the advertised price of any other dealer in the state, guaranteed. Now here's your host, Tony Caridi.
Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome, Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline, ready to roll on this Thursday night, 22nd day of October. In studio tonight with the beloved Coach Greg Hunter and the Senator Brad Howe. We've got a busy show tonight. 3 guests coming your way in the next 51 minutes. Jonathan Martin of the Blue Gold News. It's time for an update in Mountaineer football recruiting. We'll get an update from Jonathan coming up right now. Top 5 classes right now, according to ESPN, including Penn State, LSU, Florida State, Ohio State. Coach Hunter, how's Penn State getting in the top 5?
Well, it's Penn State. They're typical.
Well,
in the
wait a
top
second,
5.
Penn State. That's what it used to be, right, Coach?
It's still the same.
Senator?
Well, they say James Franklin now. James Franklin can recruit.
Well,
right.
and Bill
That's the
O'Brien was
report.
turning that around before. So they're high end for what they've done in the last 8-9 years. But again, it's Penn State.
All right, so we'll get Jonathan Martin's take on the Mountaineers' latest recruiting news coming up. 6:20 this evening, we'll be joined by former Mountaineer standout Rasheed Marshall. He's getting ready to call the action of Notre Dame West Liberty in the Mountain East Conference Game of the Week, taking place tonight at West Liberty, the home of the Hilltoppers. We will talk with Rasheed coming up shortly. Also tonight, 6:35 schedule. The head basketball coach over at the college here in town, Bob Huggins, will join us. We'll get Huggs' take on, I think the biggest piece of news that came out of Big 12 Media Day was that supervisor of officials, Curtis Shaw, said they're going to go back to calling games the way they did 2 years ago and then stopped. Well, now they're not going to stop. This one's going to the mattresses, man. This is it. This is the big one.
They tell us.
Yeah, no, this is it. They're not changing. I bet you 2 donuts. They're not changing. They're going to do this. They're actually going to do this because they started and they stopped, and they got embarrassed because they stopped. Now they're doing it.
It's going to get loud.
It's going to get ugly. It's going to get loud. It's going to get ugly for a long time until teams adjust. We'll talk with Huggs about that. Plus, the annual Gold and Blue debut. Mountaineer basketball team, 7 o'clock on Saturday night at the Coliseum. We'll talk with Huggs about that as well. We invite you to check things out. Major League Baseball off day from the playoffs. Mets, of course, in the World Series now after completing that sweep of the Cubs last night. How's your dad doing?
Haven't heard from him. I'm concerned.
He's down. He's probably walking around Cooper's Rock.
Yeah.
Probably like 52 miles into Cooper's Rock, right? Just kind of walking, wandering. Game 6 of the ALCS tomorrow, Toronto and Kansas City. The Blue Jays again in a must-win game. Royals lead that series 3-2. Top 25 teams in action tonight. College football. So this is almost hard for my lips. My lips find it difficult to pronounce these words. So I'm going to try to do this without. Number 22 Temple. I just said that. Number 22 Temple is at East Carolina. And 20th ranked Cal is in the Rose Bowl to play UCLA. NFL tonight, 2-2-4 teams. 2-4 Seattle against 2-4 San Francisco. Kickoff set for 8:25. You believe Temple's 22nd team in the country?
Hard to believe.
That Ron Dickerson, what a job he's doing there. Huh?
We've been to
Henry
some,
Burris is a very good quarterback.
That Paul Palmer, that Walter Washington. That guy's
we've
got it
seen
all.
some bad Temple teams in front of more people in this studio than were in the old Vets Stadium a couple times.
It is amazing, though. It does help when you change conferences and all of a sudden you're the big fish in a little pond, right?
Now, Hunter, why you got to go
Hunter
take those
disparages
shots? Now,
I'm
Hunter,
just
be
saying.
nice. Just be nice. Let
They're
them
in a
go.
place they can compete. Good for them.
Just let them go on that. Meanwhile, 4-star freshman cornerback Tyreek Cole among the highest-rated WVU signees last February, no longer part of the program, has not been a student at WVU since September. Rivals rated Cole as the 207th best overall prospect in the nation a year ago. He was arrested on Wednesday in Tallahassee. So more problems following him.
Yeah, which is especially odd considering he lived in Miramar, or Miami, which was about 4 hours from Tallahassee. So he didn't even go home. But I mean, his departure. I mean, he's a kid who's had a lot of baggage, even when he came to West Virginia and was on a short leash. And obviously, that leash broke a while ago. But this is a blow for West Virginia because they don't have many underclassmen corners, and he had a chance to be very good. Needed to get bigger and stronger because he was about 155 pounds, but he had athletic skill, and he could have been very good. But as we've seen, Tony, it's, if they don't want to live up to what's expected of people, then it doesn't matter how much talent they've got.
Speaking of recruiting, let's bring in Jonathan Martin from BlueGoldNews.com. He is officially sanctioned and licensed in a lot of states as a recruiting guru. Good evening to you, Jonathan.
Guys, how are you this evening?
We're wonderful. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Where's West Virginia's recruiting class as we sit tonight?
Yeah, well, they're actually they're just kind of rolling right along. It's a discussion we had actually today, ironically enough, on our site at BlueGoldNews.com. And at Scout, we have West Virginia kind of having a pretty good class. We've got them, I think it was 32nd in the country. That is good for fourth in the Big 12. Just 3 spots behind Baylor overall, or they would be the third best class. So, West Virginia is cruising right along despite kind of in the midst, I guess, of a 3-game losing streak. It doesn't seem to be hurting their recruiting momentum at all. So, very positive class right now for West Virginia, that's for sure.
Based on the Scout.com rankings as of today, what are the rankings within the Big 12?
Well, as I mentioned, West Virginia 4th and Baylor's 3rd. TCU is 1st. Texas Tech 2nd. Those numbers at this point in time, though, are a little off. I guess they're inflated by how many commitments they have. For example, you take a Texas Tech; they're 2nd, but they've got 23 commitments, whereas Baylor, who is right behind them, only have 15. West Virginia with 19. Texas kind of sitting right there at 5th, only have 9 verbal commitments. So, TCU living up to expectations, I guess, this year on the field, and they're doing well recruiting as well. But 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the country in the Big 12, 27th Texas Tech overall, 29th Baylor, 32nd West Virginia. So all 3 of those are kind of battling for 2nd in the Big 12.
Jonathan, in terms of needs for this class, we just mentioned Tariq Cole leaving the program. Corner was already an important area in this class for West Virginia. Finding corners, I would imagine, is going to be very vital to what this class ultimately is able to produce.
It is, and they're going to be looking. Like you said, losing Cole hurt. Just an overall amazing talent, really, given his size. I thought if he bulked up a little bit, he would have been special. And you hate to see that with anybody, but they're going to go back. They do have Jake Long, a kid out of Ohio, who's a Scout.com 3-star kid that's committed. Had originally committed earlier to Purdue, eventually flipped over to West Virginia. But no doubt it's going to be somewhere that they look at. I think, right now you have the luxury of kind of having a deep class or a deep pool at the secondary, but it is something that they're going to have to build on. And I look for them to do that as they close out the class. They recently offered a kid out of South Carolina, Nick McLeod, who has about 30 different offers. Immediately said, hey, I'll take an official visit to West Virginia. I'm extremely interested. So that's an option. And then you never know what they'll do as they close out as we get closer to February. But cornerback, defensive back will definitely be definitely be a need and something they'll address.
One of the corners West Virginia is still talking to is a very familiar name, and I know Darren Studstill's son, is interested in West Virginia, but he just took a trip this past weekend to Notre Dame. What's West Virginia's opportunities with Devin?
Yeah, well, they had him on campus this summer with his dad, actually, and, the visit went as expected. West Virginia's right smack dab in the middle of things. And as kids take visits, their interest in various schools go up, they go down. Notre Dame is going to be tough to pull any kid away from. As a matter of fact, there's a running back out of Florida as well, Deion McIntosh, who is always listed West Virginia number 1. Took an individual visit last week to Notre Dame, and now he lists Notre Dame as 1A and West Virginia 1B. But Studstill's going to come up later this season, and I expect now with some of the news about Cole and some other maybe prospects falling off the board, they're going to turn the heat up even more. And he would be a nice land, that's for sure. He's got a lot of kids or a lot of schools offering him, so they're going to work diligently, I'll promise you that.
Jonathan Martin, BlueGoldNews.com is our guest. Jonathan, one quick question here. Where does the 32nd ranking as West Virginia stands right now, where does that relate to how it's been under Dana Holgorsen since he arrived at West Virginia?
Yeah, it's a good question. He's always kind of hovered around that mark. I know that in years past, West Virginia would always kind of fluctuate even in the 40s and 50s. I go even back to, I'll give you a hot name, Rich Rodriguez. If we're still allowed to mention that name on air. He
sure.
Take that. He would always take an athlete and kind of convert him to whatever position. So he didn't necessarily have that star ranking. Last year West Virginia finished 30th. Dana's classes have been anywhere from 27th to about 36th. So he's about where he needs to be. He's got to finish strong. They do have 19 pledges right now, so they're going to be, if everybody stays, it's going to be somewhat limited closing out the class. But he's hovering usually right around that 30, 31, and I think he'll be on the inside of that. I think they'll finish somewhere in the 20s, but right around that number.
What about the Ferns kid?
Yeah, that's an interesting recruitment. It is down to West Virginia, and it is down to Penn State. He's been to West Virginia several times this year for games. A lot of that is to his own admission that he's an hour drive away. So it doesn't take long to hop in the car, where it does take a little bit of time to organize and to plan out to go to Happy Valley. But, he's one of those kids that just said, hey, I'm in no hurry. I don't have to be in a hurry. It's between these two schools. I'm not really looking at anybody else. Ultimately, I think West Virginia will win out here. I think just, the lure of playing close to home, playing with his brother, I think that gives West Virginia the edge. And even though it is an easy, convenient trip to Morgantown, that does have to say something that he's not took the time out of his schedule to schedule that Penn State visit. He just continuously come to West Virginia. So that'll be a huge shot in the arm, and I couldn't begin to tell you when it'll happen. I thought it would have happened a month ago, but I think West Virginia has the upper hand and will eventually win out there.
Jonathan, great insight as usual. We appreciate your time. We encourage people to check your stuff out, BlueGoldNews.com. Thanks so much, Jonathan.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. You take care. Stay with us. When we come back, former Mountaineers standout quarterback Rasheed Marshall turned football analyst will join us. We get ready for the Mountain East Conference game of the week. Notre Dame, Brian Kelly and the Irish taking on West Liberty tonight. Up at West Liberty, we'll talk with Sheed when we return. Still to come, Mountaineer head basketball coach Bob Huggins. We're gonna get some stuff from Hugs tonight. I haven't talked to him yet since Curtis Shaw came out and said the game's going to be revolutionary change in the way that it's going to be called.
Doubt he's a proponent of this.
This is big breaking news when we have Hugs on. Stay with us. More coming up.
Have you ever wondered just who are the Friends of Coal? Well, there are 50,000 West Virginia families who support the state's coal industry, and they look a lot like you. Honest, hardworking, good neighbors who want a future for themselves and their state. They're coal miners, housewives, school teachers, mechanics, doctors, college professors, pizza delivery guys, your friends. The Friends of Coal know and understand the importance of the coal industry to our state's economy. They know about the 60,000 jobs the coal industry creates in our state. They know about the $25 billion the industry pumps into our economy. And they know that without coal, our state would face an economic catastrophe. Come to think of it, that sounds like most West Virginians. Let Congress know you are a proud West Virginian, and you are a friend of coal.
Coal is West Virginia.
You know who taught me to use a hands-free device while driving? My mom. She scared me to death all through school with that phone up to her ear, driving us back and forth. Now that I'm on the road solo, I tell my mom, I'm worried about you. Go hands-free with the phone when you're driving. I do. It's important to set a good example for parents, so when she rides with me, I turn it off, put it down, and just drive.
The West Virginia Department of Transportation, saving one life at a time.
All Medicare eligible individuals. It's time for open enrollment. Take advantage of the health plan's Medicare plans with benefits such as Silver Sneakers gym membership, an extensive list of doctors and hospitals. Contact us 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week at 1-877-847-7915 or visit healthplan.org/Medicare. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, copayments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits and/or copayments, coinsurance may change on January 1 of each year.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes, on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
To navigate any map, you need a legend, celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee 2015 Four-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Gosh, cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Welcome back, everybody. Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline. Tony Caridi in the studio with Coach Hunter and the Senator Brad Howe. I took a flyer on that music. I had no idea what that was going to sound like. I kind of like that. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to get all their albums. I like it. Welcome back in. Coming up tonight, West Liberty takes on the Hilltoppers. Well, I should say West Liberty. The Hilltoppers take on Notre Dame College from Ahia, just outside of the Cleveland area. And it is our Mountain East Conference game of the week. And we're delighted to be joined by the analyst on the broadcast, working with Travis Jones this evening, the one and only Rashid Marshall.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What are you doing, buddy? How are you?
Oh, getting ready for another game. Another week. Should be a good one.
I tell you what, man, weather-wise, you're living good tonight. This day was about 1,000% perfect.
You know, it has been. I think the weather's been great for this time of year, and West Liberty, their facilities are great, so it's a perfect setup.
Rasheed, let's jump into this West Liberty team. Give me your breakdown here. They've solid season to this point. They're not where they were at one point when they were rolling in this league, but now they took a dip. Now they seem to be coming back. What's your take on this team?
Yeah, I mean, early on in the season, they did struggle a little bit. I think it's all their quarterback play. Dakota Conwell, he's come back. He was injured early in the season, came back and pretty much has been the engine to their offense, and they've been putting up points. Defensively, they give up a lot of points, but they've been able to pull out some tight games.
Offensively, style of attack, what do they like to do?
They're going to keep the ball on the ground. Again, Dakota Conwell's their guy. He's what makes it go. So through the air, they're going to get the ball to DeRee Goodwin, their big tight end. The guy's just amazing. I've seen him maybe 3 times this year. He's an absolute freak. So he's their go-to guy in the air. On the ground, they're going to try to get it done with Ortiz, their running back. So they have some weapons.
Dakota Conwell's father, we just talked about one guy who was a former Mountaineers father, but Dane the Train Conwell is a running back at West Virginia in the late 70s. Dakota is his son. Originally went to Arizona to play for Rich Rod as a linebacker, but converted to quarterback when he came back to West Lib. Is he a legit quarterback, or is he a linebacker at the position? What kind of player is he?
You know what? I think he's athletic enough to do both. I remember him in high school. He was a quarterback, and, again, he's just kind of like a playmaker, you know. So guys like that, wherever you put them, they're going to succeed. So whether it's quarterback, he can probably play running back as well. He's big enough to be a defensive player, obviously. So he has all the tools to just be that all-around player to get it done.
Rasheed Marshall is our guest, talking about Notre Dame College versus West Liberty, coming up on our website, WVMetroNews.com, following our show. Give us some other names to look at, maybe specifically on the Notre Dame College side, because it seems like whenever you and Travis are on campus, we're going to see an unbelievable individual performance. You've talked about some of the West Lib kids. Give us some names to watch on the Notre Dame side.
That's right. Those lights get bright on Thursday, and these guys step up to play. But Malik Grove, Notre Dame College quarterback, he's phenomenal. I mean, I watched a guy in the opening game of the season. He's a guy, again, he gets it done on the ground through the air. And if I had to guess, he's probably about 75% of Notre Dame's total offense. So he is their guy, and pretty much like a one-man show. So he's very exciting to watch. And after last week's game, I expect him to come out riding high on confidence and get this thing going quick.
Sheed, you haven't seen every team in the league, but you've seen a good number of teams. Does anyone even sniff Shepherd in this conference this year?
You know what? Shepherd is the only team that I haven't seen, but on paper they have everything that it takes to get the job done. Their defense is stout, and they've been handling business all year. So Charleston might be the next best team, I think, that can give them a shot. Concord went down to Notre Dame last week, so you know there's some slip-ups there, but Charleston has been the most consistent, maybe I should say, throughout the year of any team in the Mountain East.
Yeah. You know, year in and year out, Monty Cato, the job that he does at Shepherd, man, I mean, that's to do it just consistently year in, year out, year in. I mean, that's the hard part. Mm-hmm. That's the hard part. Everyone can be like a one-hit wonder, right? You know, there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of one-hit wonders out there, and then when you just keep doing it over and over and over, that's strong.
Well, and their game this week, they go to Concord. This may be the biggest opportunity for them to slip up between this and the end of the regular season for the Rams. So they're on in the midst of another one. They're very good. Nobody's come within 17 of them this year.
Rasheed Marshall is with us. Last question for you. Okay, so it's 6:30. Game starts here in just a little bit. If you went downstairs and put on a West Liberty uniform right now, all right, fully equipped, you got all the gear that you need, the whole deal, how many snaps could you play tonight?
You know what? I think I should be able to get through.
No, listen. I don't want. I want an honest answer. Like how many before you had to when you undo your chin strap, walk to the sideline, and want to puke? How many plays could you go?
Well, in that case, I'll play the whole game. I've never puked ever from a workout, so I'll get through the whole game.
I think I'm got you on a technicality.
Well, forget about that. Then how long could you go before you weren't a liability on the field?
Now, that might be the first quarter. It's a big difference. We always used to joke around. We would spend the whole summer in Morgantown, spending time getting ready, running, Law School Hill, things like that. It does not matter what you do before the season starts. You need that one game to get the game speed under your belt to catch up to it. So it's really a tough job to do.
Yeah, you can't simulate the game of football. You just can't simulate it.
He can get a few more snaps than any of the rest of us.
I guarantee you. Yeah, I guarantee you that. Hey, buddy, appreciate it. We'll be listening tonight. We encourage people to listen as well on stations across the state on Metro News and also on the website, wvmetronews.com. Thank you, Rashid.
Thanks, guys. Always my pleasure.
All right, you take care. There he is, Rashid Marshall. He's the pretty one of that broadcast crew. Between him and Travis Jones, Sheed's pretty. Stay with us. When we come back, another pretty guy. Head basketball coach Bob Huggins will join us. This is going to be interesting. Get Huggins' reaction because I don't think he realized, I'm just guessing, and I'll ask him, but the supervisor of officials, Curtis Shaw, he wasn't tepid in his comments. He didn't stick his toe into the water and pull it back in his comments. He said, this is it. This game is going to change. He didn't say the word radically, but I'll play the cut for you here in a little bit. He basically said the game is going to radically be changed the way that it's called.
And he said the higher-ups have the stomach for it, and we're not going back on it. That's
not
the other
going
key
back.
point.
That does not bode well for a West Virginia team that wants to basically, check out what size your shorts are. They want to know, hey, you guys wearing an XL. That's how tight they want to be to you. We'll talk with Huggs when we come back. Northside Automotive Statewide Sports Line.
This is Ken Tyree, your West Virginia State Fire Marshal. If you have a fire tonight, will you get out safely? You'll have a better chance of getting out safely if you've planned ahead. Develop a fire escape plan and practice it with your whole family. Everyone should know 2 ways out of each room and know where to meet outside. Make sure everyone understands that getting out is the first priority. Practice your home fire drill at night and during the day with everyone in your home. And remember, once you're outside, stay out. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal.
The field of corrections is fast-growing and full of opportunities for advancement. Right now, the West Virginia Division of Corrections has openings for male and female correctional officers throughout the state. If you have a high school diploma or GED and can pass a drug test, visit wvdoc.com to see job listings and apply. These are state jobs with great benefits and an accelerated hiring process to get you on your way quickly. Visit wvdoc.com today. An equal opportunity employer.
The Northside Automotive Statewide Sports Line returns in 2 minutes. On Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
To navigate any map, you need a legend. Celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee 2015 Four-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Welcome back, everybody. Northside Automotive Statewide Sports Line in studio with Senator Brad Howe and Coach Greg Hunter. Fright Nights going on right now until Halloween night at Glade Springs Resort. It's Fright Nights. Check it out at Glade Springs. Also, the Zombie Run. Much talked about Zombie Run. Halloween night as well. Halloween night. That'll be at Aces Zombie Run. The Aces Zombie Run. And what else do we have for you? Just a bunch of fun, scary stuff in the month of October. To check it out, we encourage you to go to WV.com. That's go to WV.com to check it out. And once you do go to WV.com and you do something that's kind of neat, post it, #, go to WV. That's go to WV. Mountaineers are just getting off the practice floor. 6:30 is when they're supposed to be over, so we're hitting Hugs up here and getting him lined up. So just hang on one second. Rick Pitino came out today and posted a lengthy blog post on his personal website. And he said, quote, he will not resign and let you down. You being the fans. Will not resign and will not let you down. This comes in the midst of the school's president saying that he has not discussed resignation with Pitino. This all obviously stemming from the book that was written by Katina Powell that claims a former Louisville staffer, Andre McGee, paid her and other escorts, including her own daughters, thousands of dollars, and gave them game tickets in exchange for dancing and for having sex with players and recruits. So Rick Pitino, at this moment, defiant. This is going to be real, 3 reels, real cubed, real interesting to see what happens.
Very, because remember, the new NCAA rules don't allow ignorance as a defense. So when they get into this and they start finding out exactly what happened, saying I didn't know as the head coach isn't acceptable anymore to avoid that. So that's going to be something that I think is different than it's been in years past, and they're going to have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, exactly. But again, that plausible deniability, he's certainly playing that to the hilt. It didn't help Boeheim at Syracuse, didn't help Larry Brown at SMU, but this is an uglier situation in many areas. Right?
It's uglier in many ways, and his approach has been interesting. He has flat out called out Andre McGee and said McGee owes it to everybody to come out and say exactly what happened. So it'll be interesting to see what McGee does. What's his response to that? How far does he stay away from it? Does he come out and make a public statement? Is that getting it in deeper? So, yeah, Tony, this thing's a long way from being over, and we haven't heard the last of it.
Yeah, and even the athletic director at Louisville and also apparently the president have come out in support, and they're backing Pitino to the hilt. And Brad, we've seen that in other instances and other situations that sometimes if those ADs back their coach, their player, it's hard for the NCAA to crack that.
Well, and some of that just depends on what comes out, because the first question that you ask is where'd the money come from? Because for a while, this McGee guy was a graduate assistant. Never mind when he got moved up to director of basketball operations. Where's the cash coming from?
Yeah,
so that's
10,000 plus.
Much like anything, you follow the money and you can find out what happened. But that's going to be the big key. Is once he starts talking, is all right? Where'd the money come from? Who supplied the money? He's certainly not taking that out of his checking account. So it came from somewhere. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on it.
Here's what intrigues the whole deal. So here's what you got. You've established the fact that this happened, right? There's no denying that this happened. This is not some pipe dream. You've got verification from independent sources. You've got verification from recruits, Louisville recruits that said, yes, in fact, this happened.
Correct.
You've got the text correspondence back and forth, right, between the author and the DOBO, the director of basketball operations. So that's number one. So you got this to happen. So now you're being led to believe that this was a totally rogue move, that he was and had access to thousands of dollars to do these things, and that the head basketball coach had no idea that any of this was going on. If this is true, if it's true, I will be absolutely floored. Floored. I've never seen it. Based on how it works, I'd be shocked. I'd love to hear it. And if this kid's going to take a fall, you imagine the fall he's taking?
Yeah.
This isn't a sword. I mean, this is a knife factory.
He's an assistant at Missouri, Kansas City right now. He is suspended at the current time, pending the outcome of the investigation.
Yeah, and his career's done, right?
He's
you got
done.
to figure.
He's done.
Yeah.
He's done. I mean, get a ticket. He's going to be an assistant coach in Costa Rica. He's going to be in Dominican Republic. He's going to be in Venezuela. That's where he's going to be. That's what it'll be.
And that's why it'll be interesting once it eventually he starts talking. Where's he going to lead? That's what you don't know. Where's he going to lead?
The one thing I wonder, the arrogance of so many people involved, whoever is involved, that they think that this isn't going to get out there with so many people that aren't under their direct control. I mean, how do they think that this is not going to become public? I mean, just arrogance or stupidity, right?
Yeah. Yeah, normally how it works. Once again, trying to get Hugs. If you have his direct number, you can call. We are too. Eric on his cell phone. Hi, Eric. Go ahead.
Fellers, on this scam at Louisville, I don't care. There's a donor who's got his hands in that. Like SMU, you know how they had them donors on their football program?
Yes. Sure.
I really think we got a donor, and there's a chance the coach don't know nothing about it.
Whoa, wait a second. Whoa. What? Wait. So wait a second. So you got a donor, okay? And you've got and you've got a member of the staff. And the member of the staff is facilitating, he's making these things happen. Now, do you think, and why would the donor, or why would the director of operations do this, right? Why would he do this knowing that if he's doing this and the coach is opposed to this, that he would be forever done in the business? Why? For $5,000? For $10,000? Risk your whole career after he went to bat for him?
That's what you can't answer. That's what you and I don't disagree on the donor side. I mean, certainly that's
how it happens.
There's no way that's coming out of a Louisville checking account. There's no question there's
that's
a donor
where the money's coming from.
Involved somewhere. But to your point, is an assistant coach going to go out there on his own without knowing what his head coach would say in this situation?
Absolutely.
No.
Hard to get there.
Yeah. Eric, I do think that a donor is involved.
Well,
that's
sure.
where the money came from.
Sure.
A lot of money there, man. Horse money. A lot of horse money there. A lot of big money. And believe me, don't think for a second that the success that Calipari was having in Lexington doesn't just fuel that even more.
Remember, though, you said something earlier about the rogue assistant, which is hard concept to believe. But remember, that was Syracuse defense. A rogue secretary. Yeah. A rogue secretary out there changing grades, writing papers, and it worked. And it worked. The rogue employee, SMU, same scenario. Got rogue employees just running amok.
They're rogue.
That has worked.
All right, stay with us. 6:45. We're going to take our last break, and hopefully we can get Hugs on the program. Phone's blinking right now. I'm just going to wait. See if it is Hugs. Then I won't take the break. If it's not Hugs, then I will take the break. Ladies and gentlemen, you're experiencing live radio. It's coming at us heavy and quick here. It's kind of like a telethon. You know, sometimes you just got to go. No, it's not Hugs, unless Hugs changed his name to Bill. Stay with us. We've got more coming up. Northside Automotive, Statewide Sportsline. We'll be back.
To navigate any map, you need a legend like the capable Jeep Cherokee, 4-Wheeler Magazine's 2015 4-Wheeler of the Year, and Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever, with best-in-class 30 mpg highway and 730-mile driving range. So you can push even farther into uncharted and unmapped territory. Get a great deal on the most awarded and legendary SUV lineup ever at the Jeep Celebration event. Well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 with 24 mpg highway for $299 a month for 39 months with $24.99 due at signing, tax, title, and license extra. The Jeep SUV lineup has received more awards in its lifetime than any other competitive SUV lineup. EPA estimated 4x2 with available EcoDiesel V6 and 24.6-gallon fuel tank. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution on lease through Chrysler Capital. 25-cent charge for each mile over 32,500. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 11/2. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
As a cyclist, we make choices. We choose which motorcycle manufacturer to buy from. We choose what type of motorcycle we ride. We even choose where and when to ride. We also choose to ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Alcohol is involved in 50% of motorcycle fatalities in West Virginia. That's 1 in 2 drivers who die each year. Don't become a statistic. Ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Presented by the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Governor's Highway Safety and Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Program.
All Medicare eligible individuals. It's time for open enrollment. Take advantage of the health plan's Medicare plans with benefits such as Silver Sneakers gym membership, an extensive list of doctors and hospitals. Contact us 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week at 1-877-847-7915 or visit healthplan.org/Medicare. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, copayments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits and/or copayments, coinsurance may change on January 1 of each year.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes, on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
To navigate any map, you need a legend. Celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee 2015 Four-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
All right, 649, welcome back. Tony Caridi, Coach Hunter, and the Senator, Brad Howe. Again, trying to get hooked up with Hugs. They were supposed to come off the floor at 6:30, and something's up because Hugs is always good about that. So something up, but if we don't get him tonight, to be honest with you, I don't want him tonight because now I only have like 7 minutes. I'd like to get more than 7 minutes, so but if he calls, we'll do it. In case you weren't listening the other night, Big 12 has its annual media day, and the supervisor of officials, Curtis Shaw, goes to the podium, and he says this wouldn't necessarily be a massive story for WVU. It would if they didn't play the way that they are going to play, and that's full court pressure basketball. So the big bugaboo is physical contact and reaching. That's what Curtis Shaw had to say is how the game is going to be officiated starting this year.
But we have to change the game, and it's going to take drastic effort on behalf of the referees, the coaches, and the players to do that. But our players are great, our coaches are great. They can do it if we're consistent in what we enforce. It will be ugly early. A lot of non-conference games are mismatches in terms of talent anyway. It makes it even harder. But I think as our players learn to play legally, it'll get better all up and down the line.
So there he is. A couple things he said. have to change. We have to change the game. So they've just gotten together and said, this is what it's going to be. We have to change. This will be drastic. That's another word that he used. And he said it's going to be ugly early. 2 years ago they did it. West Virginia wasn't pressing. And it was ugly. And then they relented. They pulled back. And because people just said, well, we don't know how to do this. But now they just said, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, it'll be ugly because what they're saying is they're going to call fouls constantly. Somebody cuts through the lane and there's banging, that's going to be a foul. So there's going to be hand checking. There's going to be a ton of whistles. That's what makes it ugly. Now, a couple years ago, if you remember, defensively, you're right. West Virginia wasn't running that style, so defensively it didn't affect them. But you know where it helped? Jawan Staten was virtually unstoppable, if you'll remember. That nobody could stay in front of Jawan Staten. He got to the basket and either scored or was fouled. So you had a guy with that particular skill set. It actually helped you on the offensive end. I think one of the big questions with this Mountaineer team is if it takes something away from you defensively, and I think there's no doubt that it will because of style of play, can you pick up anything offensively? Are there guys on this roster that can take advantage of it? Probably not as quick as Staten, but who are the guys that are going to benefit from getting to the basket without being held?
I think Javon Carter can take it to the basket.
Agree.
I think Tariq Phillip can take it to the basket.
Agree.
Jay Sean Page can take it to the basket.
Dexter Miles
can take it to the basket. Oh, that's great. Games are going to last 8 hours. 8 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be long games early. And remember, that was one of the pressure points last time is ESPN schedules these games in 2-hour windows, and they were getting to games so late.
Joining us right now, the head basketball coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers, Bob Huggins. What in the heck happened to you?
Practice, TC. Practice and
priorities, Hugs. I mean, priorities, Hugs. Priorities. Seriously, what's bigger than?
I understand. It's when I get into practice, I kind of get zoned in, TC, and I everything else doesn't register.
Sportsline or the Mountaineer basketball team. I mean, you gotta set some priorities up.
I know. I understand.
All right. Well, I do appreciate us getting a hold of you. So I only got you for 5. I wanted a long deal, but anyway, here I go. What Curtis?
Well, we can do it again.
Okay, we're good. 2 things. First off, I want to remind people that Saturday night, 7 o'clock, the Gold and Blue debut takes place at the Coliseum, and everyone is encouraged to check it out. It's absolutely free. You'll see the Mountaineers, little scrimmage, little various other things, plus autograph session after it's over. So I do encourage people to check that out, 7 o'clock Coliseum Saturday. Now, Curtis Shaw comes.
Now posters.
Oh, yeah, posters too.
Yeah, posters be
plus
available.
You're raising the banner, Sweet 16 banners going up?
Yes, sir.
I like it. Curtis Shaw said at Media Day, the game has to change. This change will be, quote, drastic. It will be ugly early. All indications are this does not bode well for a team that's going to use full court pressure. Am I right, wrong, or what's your take?
Oh, I think it could be that. I mean, it depends, and I've had this discussion with numerous people who think that the game needs change. But I mean, if they call verticality, it could help us, Tony. Then there'll be no more people banging into the trap, to try to get out of it. If they call walking when guys switch pivot feet in the trap, I think it's advantageous for us. Now, if they're going to just stand there and look for someone to touch somebody, then it's probably not advantageous for us.
How has it changed the way that you're coaching the traps?
Well, we're trying to do a better job of angles and trying to do a better job of closing traps. We didn't do a great job of closing traps a year ago. And our angles could certainly improve. Our pursuit angles could certainly improve.
Curtis Shaw said that he's going to be at the WVU Temple scrimmage coming up here the first day of November. How important is that for you to have him there, and what do you think will be how do you think you will handle it? Do you think it will be a whistle fest to begin with?
I want them to call it, Tony, the way they're going to call it in the game when we start playing games. So, I mean, if it's a whistle fest, it's a whistle fest, and hopefully hopefully we can make some adjustments and not, give up our identity.
How big of an advantage do the guys who can take the ball to the rim, like Juwan Staten could, have with these rules? And do you have people do you think are competent to do that?
Well, that was supposed to happen last year, and it didn't, if I'm looking at things correctly. And Wani didn't shoot near the amount of free throws a year ago that he did 2 years ago. It depends on how they call the game. And it depends on how they adjudicate who creates contact. There's been numerous times, and let's be honest, 2 years ago when they started this, guys were dribbling and running into people, and they were calling a foul on the people they ran into.
Yes.
I mean, Tony, it was ridiculous.
Yep.
And if it goes that way, I mean, I don't know what you do. I guess get out of the way. But I don't think that's going to happen. There's supposed to be a sense of verticality. There's supposed to be a cone, but that cone's supposed to go both ways. And as long as they call it both ways, and you guys saw it. I mean, we a year ago, because we put really good pressure on people trying to get the ball in bounds, they would run and jump into us.
Mm-hmm.
They would run and wrap arms with us. And I'm not saying we didn't foul. We did. We fouled like everybody else fouls. But, they fouled us as well from the offensive standpoint. And I think it has to go both ways.
20 seconds.
Let me just say this real quick. I'm in favor of a 3-second defensive 3 seconds. I think that would open the floor up more than anything that they're doing now.
Well, that's true. And 5 seconds isn't there anymore.
No. Well, it is once you pick the ball up.
Once you pick the ball up, yeah.
There is no. But what's going to happen? What's going to happen at the end of games is people just going to try to dribble the clock out.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you're going to be able to stop a guy from just dribbling around in a circle like Marcus Haynes is to foul him.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any way to trap them because they don't have to pick the ball up.
Yep. All right, Hugs. Appreciate the call. I know you're on your way to an event, so I will see you there in a few moments.
Okay. Apologize, guys.
No, you're fine. We're fine. Anything for the Mountaineers. We're all for the Mountaineers.
Trying to actually do my job.
I know. Appreciate it, buddy. I'll see you.
All right.
Take care. There he is. Mountaineer head coach Bob Huggins. This is really going to be interesting to see how this whistle blows. If they are fair, and if you start calling it when offensive players push out and lean the action, then it could be all right. All right, we're out. Thanks for being with us. Back in tomorrow night, 6:06 Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline. See you.
The Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline has been an exclusive presentation of the Metro News Radio Network. Copyright 2015. All rights reserved.